What surprised you? You heard the comments from Ranking Member Garcia. What surprised you today, and did you find him credible?
I think what surprised me most is how little information he actually shared in 6 hours. You know, it takes a lot of work to not answer questions for 6 hours. And let me just put it this way. He showed up with a binder full of pre-prepared statements, evidence that he was going to use of previous statements he had disclosed. And I think it's very interesting that during one of the breaks, the attorney that accompanied him was actually disclosed to one of our colleagues that he was Charlie Kirk's attorney and also represented Paul Manafort, Trump's closest ally for many, many years. And so I do ask and wonder the question whether or not he was sent to babysit on behalf of the Trump family. So I think it was very clear that Mr. Acosta was very guarded. He did not want to share new information. But let me just say this. Everything about this case is weird, right? Like, what we learned today is Acosta said multiple times under oath that he takes responsibility for making the decision to not pursue federal charges.
But why?
Exactly. Well, that is what he would not answer. He answered very affirmatively in this interview that his own line attorney had recommended prosecuting federal crimes, that the chain of command recommended pursuing federal crimes, that later in a DOJ investigation, it was found that he should have prosecuted federal crimes. But he personally chose to enter a plea agreement under state charges. And ultimately, those state charges are what allowed Epstein to be in a county jail where he had work release, where he still abused women, and a non-prosecution agreement that not only shielded Epstein from further federal prosecution, but his co-conspirators. So the entire thing smells to high heaven.
How do you then, Congresswoman, given that he did obfuscate, follow up on this deposition?
Yeah, I mean, I think that we did our best, given that he is a very seasoned prosecutor. He spent 20 years of his life defending himself in this case. But I think we anticipate that the majority will release the full transcript and hopefully the video transcript. You'll be able to see for yourself that he did not recall the vast majority of the most significant case that he spent his career litigating or not litigating in this case. So it's very evident from watching him testify that he was there to not share information.
So, you know, for me, this all landed where we all knew it was going to land. 6 hours of testimony, we got nothing to show for it because it's the same old stuff by the same old team that has learned to block and tackle the narrative out of position, where they sit there and seem to be put upon and be victimized because you're asking them, what the hell did you do and why did you do it?
Right.
And those two questions are difficult for them to answer because the answer just generates more questions. And that is the core of the Epstein matter.
And it's non-defensible.
And it's non-defensible, which gets me to the broader question. Why was this behind closed doors? Why couldn't we just put the sunlight of just the freshness to the American people, because we all want to know, and have him tell the American people, not just the members sitting in a closed room, but tell the American people, well, I can't answer that.
Right. Well, I mean, it's because it's an elaborate smokescreen designed to give cover for the President of the United States. And I want to note that, first of all, the Republicans didn't even bother staying to the end of the deposition. By the time we walked out of there around 5 p.m., there were only 2 members of Congress still sitting in the room, and it was myself and Representative Ansari from Arizona. And so, yeah, they didn't even bother to actually sit around and listen. So I find it comical that Mr. Comer is going on TV talking about what was said in the room, because I didn't see you, bro. So let's just say that. But you know, listen, it's very clear that the White House does not want to release these files. I asked Mr. Acosta as the very last set of questions, in your opinion, does the White House have the authority to release or unseal these files as long as there is not a court order in place? And he said, it is my opinion that they do. Now, Kash Patel said twice in 2 different committees in the United States Senate and the House of Representatives this week under oath that he couldn't release the files because they didn't have the authority
to do it,
right? So what that points to, and at least while we didn't get a lot of new evidence and information about the motive behind why they didn't prosecute in the first place, we did get a definitive statement that absolutely the White House is engaged in a cover-up, that they have the authority to release the files.
It's very important. Before we let you go, another development this week is the FCC chair, Brendan Carr. Democrats have been asking questions. Ranking member Garcia says that Democrats are opening an investigation. You all have sent letters to ABC, Nexstar, Sinclair. What can you tell us about any developments over the last 24 hours?
Yeah, well, let me just zoom out quickly and say that Brendan Carr literally wrote the chapter for Project 2025
Chapter 28
for the FCC. And he appeared in front of the committee under oath last Congress, in which he tried to claim, even during my own questioning of him, that he didn't write it, even though his name is literally on the page. But even in Project 2025, he's actually doing what he promised to do, which is to use the power of the FCC to try to essentially stop free speech. And this is not the first incidence of it. We've already seen multiple incidents where the FCC has been trying or threatening to block mergers to accomplish some goal that the administration wants. But I think what is particularly chilling about this incident is not only did they succeed in getting Kimmel suspended this week, then the president day after day has gone on the air and said they're going to keep doing it to take every journalist that disagrees with him off the air. And so that is the chilling of the First Amendment, and the First Amendment is the foundation of American democracy. So I don't care what your political affiliation is, you should be deeply concerned about what this administration is doing and what the FCC is doing to try to stop free speech.